Good evening. We are about to start. Democracy cannot succeed unless those who express their choice are prepared to choose wisely. The real safeguard of democracy, therefore, is education. Franklin Roosevelt. That is why Vaughan Citizen and Human Endeavor has been collaborating since 2010 and have organized all candidate debates on every city, provincial, and federal level. My name is Noordin. I'm the founder and CEO of Human Endeavor. I have the privilege today to introduce the candidates participating in today's debate. Let me start with the small introduction of Human Endeavor. Human Endeavor is a nonprofit organization that was established in 2004 in the city of Vaughan. We are improving the socio-economic and living conditions of low-income community members through non-traditional and innovative methods by building their capacity and empowering them. Human Endeavor offers health and wellness and day program for multicultural seniors, community-led economic development through social enterprises, community development in general, training and research. Human Endeavor is widely known as an innovative leader in providing solutions to social challenges. In 2010, it was given Innovation Award by the Ontario Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. In 2012, Canada-wide 3M Health Leadership Awards was given for work on health and economic development. In 2013, our seniors wellness programs were selected among world's top 5 age-friendly initiatives. Human Endeavor also presented its work and research internationally through many research papers, and its work is being replicated in other parts of Ontario and in USA. I will also introduce now Metroland, the parent company of Vaughan Citizen, who is partnered with Human Endeavor, or both organizations are partnering to deliver this debate. Metroland, Ontario's largest and most successful community newspaper publisher, provides local news and advertising media info in Canada's heartland. We currently publish 114 community newspapers with a total of 143 editions that are concentrated in southern Ontario and located around Toronto. As of October 2013, the combined distribution of the community newspaper published by Metroland is approximately 5.2 million copies per week. Over the years, Metroland has received hundreds of local, provincial, national, and international awards. This was the introduction of the two organizations who are organizing today's debate. I will now go alphabetically and introduce the candidates who are present here for debate, starting with Michael DeBiase. My name is Michael DeBiase. I'm married to Ileana, and together, I'm reading on behalf of Michael.
Look like
Okay.
Michael.
And so I will just go as is because otherwise it will be hard for me. We are the proud parents of 3 children and 7 grandchildren. Michael is a graduate of York University and have received Bachelor of Education degree from University of Toronto. He has taught at Melbourne Collegiate for 15 years before becoming a counselor. He is proud to call Vaughan his home since 1977. From the beginning, he was involved in his community as a volunteer, organized and participated in after-school programs and youth groups, as well as supported several local charities. His dedication to community and this city led him to run for council. He was elected in 1985 and served as regional and local councillor in 1988 and 2002. He was appointed and elected mayor from 2002 to 2006. He is currently serving as regional and local councillor, the position for which he is seeking re-election. So I think the original format was that I will read the bio and then the candidate will come on stage. So since they are already seated on stage, I think when I finish, if you could just stand up so the people can see. So it's Michael DeBiase. Next, I will introduce Mario Ferri. Mario Ferri is 30 years Vaughan resident. He and his wife of 40 years have 3 children and 5 grandchildren. Ferri has a master's degree and a bachelor's degree from York University. Ferri served on council for 13 years as local councillor and as regional councillor, was Vaughan's acting mayor for 3 years and a trustee for 4 years. Mario's top priorities are to build the Vaughan Hospital within 5 years, reduce traffic by investing in public transportation, expanding road network, and using technology such as Marlin ATSC to move cars more efficiently, provide quality services, and not raise taxes above inflation by stopping waste and finding sustainable non-tax income opportunities, and putting your priorities first. Please welcome Mario Ferri. Next, I will introduce Carrie Liddy. Carrie and her family has called Vaughan home for the past 20 years. She helped to develop, implement the Woodbridge Family Schools Community Initiative, was past chair of the parent council of her children's school, a facilitator for the Girls Guide of Canada, and has been active with her local Ratepayers Association. Carrie has worked in the information technology for the past 30 years, specializing in security and privacy. She has held several positions in the field, including chair of the Canadian Advisory Council on Privacy. Carrie has bachelor's degree in economics and recently achieved her master's in law. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Carrie Liddy. Next, I will introduce Richard T. Lorello. Richard is 54 years old, living in Vaughan since 2004, married and father of 3 daughters. Our family resides in Kleinburg. Richard has always been interested in computer science and a graduate of information technology studies in 1982. A determined self-starter who loves big challenges, Richard is an experienced 22 years manager as an information technology professional. Richard has been involved in private fundraising for Vaughan Hospital, Sick Kid Hospital, Vaughan tornado victims, and Vaughan Women Shelter. Richard has passed 9 years privately auditing Vaughan management practices, resulting in policy changes. If elected, Richard will continue to ensure good government, fair taxes, protecting your tax dollars from corrupt practices, and provide creative ways to alleviate gridlock. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Richard Lorello. Next, I will introduce Mr. Gino Rosati. Putting residents first is the guiding principle for Regional Councillor Gino Rosati. Through his 6 years as school board trustee, many years as Ward 2 local councillor, and presently deputy mayor. Gino's concern for his neighbors amidst the city's rapid growth was valued by voters in 2010 election. Quotes, "We can anticipate prosperity, but we need to manage growth responsibly. That takes experience," end of quotes. A 40-year resident, Gino has served Vaughan as bank manager and with local groups and charities. Father to a lawyer, dentist, and a Canadian military officer, Gino is nono to 3 granddaughters. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gino Rosati. Again, finally, I will introduce Deb Scholl. Served since 2010 and is also on the board of Power Stream and the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority. Earned a degree in mechanical and aerospace engineering from Princeton University and spent 22 years in engineering and management with Bombardier Aerospace. She is a high-energy, results-oriented individual who has been focused on improving the internal processes and culture at City Hall to better serve the residents and to keep taxes down. Next term focus is on reducing traffic congestions, continuing to advance the transparency and accountability of the City Hall, and ensuring quality and respectful development timed with necessary infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Deb Shaw. So this was the introduction of all the candidates. I will now introduce you the individual who is going to moderate today's debate, Ms. Kim Champion. Kim Champion is the journalist and two-time provincial award winner for editorial writing. She is the editor of Vaughan Citizen, a weekly community newspaper that is part of Metroland Media Group. She cares passionately about great journalism and works with some of the best and brightest in the industry to bring local leaders' stories that matters most in the city, week after week. Anyone who reads the Vaughan Citizen will know that Kim enjoys a vigorous and highly spirited, yet fair debate on issues of the day. Please welcome Kim Champion. She will introduce the debate rules and moderate the rest of the session. Thank you very much. I'm just going to read about photographs. Yeah, I just want to make one comment. If you don't want to be photographed, then if you could please sit on this side, that way photographers are free to take the pictures of other people. That's all. Thank you. Now Kim will take over.
Thank you, Noor. I want to welcome you all to tonight's debate. We'll get right down to business, but I'll just give you a few details about how tonight is going to play out. The first half of the debate will be a couple of questions asked of each of the candidates, put together by Human Endeavour and the Vaughan Citizen. And the last half of the debate will be your questions. There's a question box at the back of the room with some paper and pens. So please, if by about 5 to 8 you could write your question for the candidates down on the paper and put it in the box. Adam Martin Robbins, our reporter, will work on organizing the questions and then handing them to me. I'd like to introduce you to our timekeeper, Tim Kelly. Tim will help to keep the candidates on track and so that they don't go over their time and so that things don't get out of control. But if it does, you're more than welcome to help us regain control by clapping very loudly if somebody goes over their time or they start talking over each other or arguing. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question, and then they will each get 1 minute to rebut anything that they hear from any of the other candidates up here on stage. So without further ado, we will begin alphabetically with Michael. The Mackenzie Vaughan Hospital is on track to be built at the lands at Major Mackenzie and Jane by 2019. There will be, however, about 32 acres of surplus lands paid for by Vaughan taxpayers that are not slated for hospital use. Michael, what is your vision for those additional lands?
You turn this on somewhere? Or can you hear me? I just have to speak loud. Okay. The whole parcel, ladies and gentlemen, is 82 acres. 40 acres, there's a lease agreement with Mackenzie Health, Vaughan Mackenzie Health, and that is underway now. There's going to be another 20 acres, more or less, for road infrastructure, detention ponds, green space, and there'll be another 22 acres left, which the City of Vaughan, the present council, has decided that they will be developed for ancillary use. By ancillary use, I mean senior homes. Perhaps York University may want to come in with an education university medical building, and other initiatives that are there as part of the hospital infrastructure so that we can create a truly a hospital hub, to service the many needs of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mario?
Thank you.
You got to speak loud.
Hello? Okay, there we go. First of all, let me welcome everybody and say it's great to see people taking ownership of the democratic process and being here to participate, and I'm sure through your questions keep us accountable to you even at this stage. And thank you to the organizers as well for this opportunity. I'm absolutely keen on the hospital. For me, if the hospital is not built by 2019, it'll be a failure. And I don't do well with failure, so I will do whatever I need to do to make sure that happens. But with respect to the additional lands, I do agree that there is a need for auxiliary services to support the services that are available through the hospital. There are complementary services that need to be there, and I also agree that there's a need for seniors housing, and there may be some room for medium-sized housing as well, medium-density housing for that area as well.
Thank you. Carrie?
Hi, welcome everyone. I wanted to welcome everyone as well. First of all, I don't think that council is being clear about the use of the 82 acres. 82 acres of land was purchased by all of the residents and citizens of Vaughan for $80 million. And for $80 million, we were supposed to have a hospital and healthcare related uses, including transit hub, including barrier-free access, including doctor's office, dentist's office, x-rays. And what this council has done is reduce the size of the acreage to 40 acres for the hospital, and they have zoned the remaining 42 acres high density. So let's be clear about this. These lands have been taken away from being used for a hospital and healthcare related uses, and this is why I have appealed it to the OMB. I am going to make sure that the transit hub is brought back, that the barrier-free access is brought back, that the seniors and special needs adults and children are taken care of, that there's x-rays, that there's doctor's offices, and that there's a full-service hospital. The hospital lands are not large enough to build the hospital that we need and we deserve. So the other 42 acres was intended to generate revenue so that we wouldn't have to pay more taxes than we're already paying through the $80 million. And now that it's gone and the city has rezoned it to something else, which includes high density, we are going to have to pay the extra $31.3 million in taxes and make up for that in our property taxes. So all information is on my website, and I will stop the land grab done by this council.
Thank you. Richard?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the Vaughan Citizen and Human Endeavour for putting this on. To get right to it, my big concern with the hospital lands is that not enough land has been allocated for the hospital. An arbitrary number of 40 acres has been granted, but there's actually no land use studies that actually justify that acreage for a hospital. And just to give you a comparison, the town of Oakville is building their hospital right now. They're building their hospital on 50 acres of land. The issue there is that there's 187,000 people in the town of Oakville, and in Vaughan there's 320,000 roughly and growing. And my concern is that the 40 acres is not enough. There aren't any published reports on the amount of land justified. And the fact of the matter is that the previous council negotiated an agreement with a private corporation that locked us into 40 acres. That is the simple answer. But to broaden my answer, I definitely want to see, more healthcare services and use all of the land for healthcare services, that complement the hospital in terms of physiotherapy services, chiropractic, life sciences, teaching hospital. Hopefully York University will also join us in that parcel of land. Thank you.
Thank you. Gino?
Well, let me get right into it. And first and foremost, I have to say that when people make a statement, one would wish that are based on facts and information and not on imagination. Having said that, there is a number of corrections. The 40 acres is not arbitrary. It was requested by Mackenzie Health through the Ministry of Health. That's what they asked. Brampton Hospital only has 30 acres and they have a surplus land. So take that into consideration. In terms of the surplus land, that land hasn't gone anywhere. All of the land is owned by the city, by the taxpayer, because you are paying for it. Okay? It's your land, nobody else. Right now, we have to build a hospital. The surplus land will be dealt with as we move along, and will definitely be ancillary to a hospital, particularly long-term care. What was stated that there is high density, there is no high density on that land at all, and there is no residential plans on that land. Okay? Let's make that clear, and that's in our plan. Anybody that wishes to verify that, please do so. And the additional land is not 42 acres because we're also putting aside 10 acres for regeneration. And after you account for drainage and roads and whatever, you're talking about 20 acres that will be well used as part of the healthcare campus. And that will be developed in consultation with you, the residents, with the Ministry of Health, with all the stakeholders. And right now, the priority is the hospital. That's something that I've always cared for. Since I was first elected in council, I brought the idea up, and is now becoming a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Deb?
Thank you very much. Not to repeat some of what my colleagues have said, but it is really important that there's a lot of misinformation that's been flying around this community for many years now on the hospital file. There is no land grab. The city, this particular council had ensured that this land was going to stay in the taxpayer, in Vaughan's hands, in the taxpayers' hands, in perpetuity. The previous council had agreed that if Vaughan Health Campus of Care would have had the rights to build the hospital, they were going to get the land, all of the land. Well, the land for the hospital. This particular council decided that that was not the right way to go forward, and we have ensured that the land stays in the taxpayers' hands. You are paying for it, it's your land. If in the future, 100 years from now, that hospital is decided to be no longer required, who knows how health care is going to be delivered in the future, that hospital land is not going to go to the province and be sold off for homes. It's going to stay in the hands of the community and be decided by council of the day how that land would best serve the residents. So there's no land grab. Whatever's being set up here by some of the other candidates is just out of this world. So I just wanted to make it clear, the land is in the taxpayers' hands. It's staying in Vaughan Council's hands. What I have in terms of plans for the future of the land is the same as the rest of council, and that is we need to see first get the hospital in place. I'm listening to other candidates say they're going to make sure a hospital is delivered. Well, just to be clear, we do not have any jurisdiction over delivering a hospital. The hospital is the jurisdiction of the province. What we do have jurisdiction over is the land, and we're making sure we're getting it ready to have that hospital come as soon as possible. The land will be used for supportive services for the hospital. We will figure out what that is after the hospital tells us what they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, candidates, you each have a minute to rebut. And do you disagree or agree? Carrie, I'll start with you.
Thank you. First of all, there is a land grab. If Ms. Schultz would have, I assume you're referring to me when you said other people. If Ms. Schultz would have actually read zoning bylaw 2014-076 and 2014-077, you would have seen that the entire 82 acres is now zoned high density, and that you have removed the transportation hub, there is no barrier-free access, and you have added other uses, including residential use, onto that zoning bylaw. So I suggest that you do read the bylaw before you criticize me, because I've read it in depth a lot, and in fact, I'm taking it through to the courts to make sure that that land is protected, and all of our $80 million investment is protected as well.
Thank you. Deb, would you like to respond?
I would like to respond because it's really ironic that the person who's sitting there at the table today telling us that this council has done nothing and that this hospital is delayed and is not moving forward is the only one that currently right now is trying to delay moving this precinct plan forward. So this is absolutely ironic that the person who's delaying it is the person complaining to the rest of us that it's being delayed. Thank you.
Each candidate will have a minute, one chance to rebut. Richard?
Yeah, I'd like to state that Mr. Rosati made a comment about Brampton being on 30 acres. The plan in Brampton was that they were supposed to get 2 hospitals. They built a new one, and they had the old one. Well, what the province did was shut down the first one. So they're going to have a problem with capacity in the near future, because 30 acres is not enough for 700,000 people, and 40 acres is not enough for 320,000 people. The issue with the hospital lands is because there has not been any transparency on what we're doing with the hospital. You look for any land use study on what justifies 40 acres for the hospital, and you will not find one. All I'm asking for is show me the land use studies that justify 40 acres for the hospital. There's none to be found.
Okay. Kim?
Michael?
Thank you. We have already been given guidelines by the Ministry of Health and Infrastructure Ontario. Very clearly, they said, your hospital is 1,200,000 square feet, no more. 40 acres, they said, yes, that's fine. The City of Vaughan, this council said, we can have 10 more acres in the future if there needs an expansion. There's land there, your land, because you're paying for it. And now, as we speak, infrastructure is going in, initiated by the City of Vaughan, because we want to get this hospital. The Ministry of Health and Infrastructure Ontario and Mackenzie Vaughan Health have put out requests for proposals, and I'll read to you. The Ministry of Health, Infrastructure Ontario, shortlisted to design, build, finance, and maintain the Mackenzie Vaughan Hospital. So they're choosing one of these 3 to move ahead and build this hospital. Have we done anything wrong, ladies and gentlemen? I don't think so. No land grabs,
Thank
and
you,
we're not
Michael.
delaying it. We want to see this hospital built.
Gino?
I don't know how to say it in any other ways. Mackenzie Health asked for 40 acres. That's what they got through the ministry. Now, somebody can go on and on and on about studies. That's what they asked. That's what we gave them. Plus, we're giving them an additional 10 acres. That is sufficient based on that. Let the hospital be built by the people that know how to build and have the mandate to build, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, Mackenzie Health, not me, not Mr. Lorello, or anybody else in this room who knows how to do it. Okay? Let's put things in perspective, and that's what I think is important for the public to understand. Mackenzie Health is building it. Mackenzie Health is working with us. We're leasing them the land, as was mentioned by my colleague. There is nothing mysterious about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mario?
Thank you. The jurisdiction for the hospital rests with the Ministry of Health and, of course, with Mackenzie Health. That's true. But that doesn't suggest for a minute that council members don't have a role to play. We have a very big stake in this particular project. And certainly we can play a role of facilitating, of making sure that the issues that currently exist are addressed in a manner that will facilitate the building of the hospital within the time frame that has been established. So I do believe that we do have a role to play, and a very important role, and one that we must exercise.
Thank you all. Now we'll go in reverse alphabetical order and start with Deb. And the next question is, voters can elect up to 3 regional councillors in the October 27th election. Now, assuming you'll be voting for yourself, what other 2 candidates for regional councillor will you be voting for, and why?
That's a good question.
I believe that people's election choices, the reason it's done in secret is because it's up to them to decide what they need at the time. And I'm sitting here, like the rest of the people in the room, listening to everyone else and trying to make my decision about who is best able to serve the residents of Vaughan. And I have not fully decided yet on who I will be choosing to hopefully sit with me, all right, at the table.
Thank you. Gino?
Yes, I haven't decided either, but I can tell you who I will choose is one that is upfront, knowledgeable, speaks the truth, deals with facts, and gets information before speaking out, gets all of the facts. Not half the facts, all of the facts before you can pass a judgment. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard?
Well, that's really putting us on the spot. It's a very difficult question, but I know that I will be voting for people who are very like-minded to myself, people who have similar backgrounds to myself, and people who understand that the city, just like any organization, needs to be managed properly, which is one of my strengths as a 24-year manager. Financial controls, management controls, protect your interests as far as protecting your tax dollars, and those are the people I will be voting for. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie?
Well, I can't tell you who I'm voting for, but I can tell you who I am not voting for. I'm not voting for Deb Schultz or Michael DiBiase. And the reason is because both of them support the land grab. Both of them support the land grab. They passed it in closed session, and now they're trying to deny having doing it, and they're personally attacking me because I'm the only person who's come clean with the truth and is stopping the city from taking our hospital and our healthcare related services. All 82 acres must go to the hospital and healthcare related services, period. And it is zoned high density, by the way. Look at the zoning bylaw. So everybody else, I will decide amongst the other 4, and myself.
Thank you. Mario?
Thank you. I am certain that I'm voting for me. That is certain. And the balance, I will make that determination at the time of voting. But like the others, in order to move the city forward, you need people that have vision. You need people that have passion. You need people that look at the future, not just the present. And those who are prepared to be accountable. And those that will rebuild the trust that is eroded with the residents and with our constituents. It's so disheartening knocking on doors and hearing the cynicism that exists out there and the lack of trust and the loss of faith in the public system. We have to restore that. So I'm going to support those people that have that vision and that approach.
Thank you. Michael?
Well, thank you, Kim. I guess after the last statement of my colleague, I'm going to have to reconsider whether I'm going to vote for her or not. But, ladies and gentlemen, I have not made a decision. But I can tell you one thing. You need commitment and dedication. And you know that when you have a family and you have children and grandchildren, and you know that how much that takes care of commitment. And for you to commit, and I've done this for 25 years, then anyone else that does the same thing, that commits, sacrifices at times, even the family, to make sure that the well-being, the good health of the residents is looked after. That's key and it's important. And to make decisions that are good and for the best interest of the community. I think those are the individuals that we want to see elected. Thank you.
Thank you. If I could ask that if you have a question that you'd like us to ask, if you could please put your question in the question box, and Adam will be collecting it and going through those in the next few moments. So for the next question, we'll start with Richard. California has Silicon Valley. Ottawa has a thriving high-tech sector. Is it possible to develop this kind of innovative economic center in Vaughan? And if so, how?
I think that is definitely a possibility, and that's actually one of the things that I talk about in my platform, is the diversification of Vaughan's economy. Vaughan's economy is not diversified enough, and it needs new businesses. We're very centralized in development types of industry, logistics. There's a lot of logistics companies in Vaughan. And in order to attract companies like Ms. Champion has alluded to, we have to become a center of innovation. It's interesting that Vaughan, in a recent survey about Vaughan dropped from a B rating to a C rating. And one of the issues that was brought up for that decline was because Vaughan was not regarded as a center of innovation, a culture of innovation. And that is my background. I come from a background of innovation. And I will work hard to try to attract other types of businesses, specifically high-tech, life sciences, healthcare companies, to come to Vaughan, because it is a great city to locate to, and I think we just have to put out the "we're open for business" sign to get them to come here.
Thank you. Gino?
Well, there's no question that we all want to see great industries that make sense, and what was just suggested, I would definitely look at and try to attract if it's desirable, if it doesn't bring problems to the community, such as high traffic or pollution or any other hazardous kind of development. But it's funny that our economic development, through the people that work for us, we have won many awards for excellence, for doing the right things, for attracting industries, and for creating at least 15,000 new jobs. I think that's not too shabby.
Thank you. Deb?
I definitely believe that we can be an attractant for a high-tech industry. We were on the map for green energy. We were attracting some pretty significant investments because of our power stream connection there. Then, of course, that kind of went a little bit south when the province backed off on the green energy programs that they were doing. But we are very well placed. We have two of the largest rail yards in North America, right within Vaughan. We have great access to highways with the 407, with the 400, with the 427, and of course with the 427 extension. That's going to get even better. We have vast tracts of land that is still undeveloped. So we have a wonderful opportunity to take advantage of these gifts that we've been given. And we have a very strong economic development organization that is looking for what those opportunities will be and working to attract them to the city. We are leading York Region in employment growth. So we have a lot going for us, and I do believe we can take advantage of that and have a high-tech sector here in Vaughan. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie?
Well, it's a good question, actually, Kim, because just before the election started, I was approached by a president of a major U.S. manufacturing company. It's an engineering type of manufacturing, high-paying, skilled jobs. And he asked me, what will it take to come to Vaughan? And I reversed the question and I said, well, what is it about Vaughan that you need for you to move here? And what he said were actually three things. We need to reduce the taxes, we need more affordable housing in the mid to low range for single family, and we need to fix the traffic. And he said, other than that, Vaughan would be a preferred location for many thousands of well-paying manufacturing jobs. And he said, I said, well, where's the alternative? And he said the Kitchener-Cambridge area, because they actually have their act together. They have very, very low taxes, and they have, in fact, fixed their traffic problem in about the last 5 years. So we have a well-educated workforce here. We have very hardworking people, and we just lack the infrastructure. So once that is done, I'm sure people like the person I was talking to will, in fact, locate to Vaughan. And I promised him that after the election, if I'm elected regional council member, that I'm going to invite him up here, and I'm going to make a commitment to him to fix all of the problems that, in fact, that he sees in Vaughan, because that would be awesome to get his company here in Vaughan. Thank you.
Thank you. Mario?
We absolutely can establish a high-tech sector, and as we all know, a vibrant economy is good for everybody, both residents and businesses. And I actually have a business plan that would help us get there. For example, create a Invest Vaughan panel made up of our brightest and best minds in the business sector, bring them together to identify contacts, to identify those that we can bring in to Vaughan to invest here. The other part, of course, would be to keep the taxes low, as already mentioned. One of the difficulties that most businesses have is dealing with red tape. So we need to have regulations that protect the interests of the residents, but we cannot allow it to hinder the business sector as well. And creating an opportunity for a one-stop window where the business can meet with for example, a staff person that would help them maneuver through the maze of administrivia that most businesses have to go through. Having that assistance could certainly assist in establishing and maintaining businesses here. So I definitely would move towards that sector, and I would like to ensure that it happens in the manner in which I described it.
Thank you. Michael?
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, there was an article in the springtime, Building Statistics, and the city of Vaughan is one of the top 10 Canadian cities in the value of building permits. Last year, we built over $1 billion in construction activity. And also states here that Vaughan is a net importer of jobs. Employment labor force in Vaughan exceeds Vaughan's residents' labor force. 186,019 jobs here in Vaughan. And the labor force in Vaughan is 158,990. So we have an import of jobs here because there's not enough people in Vaughan to do all the work. And it goes on to say, very interestingly, the low commercial and industrial taxes combined with the access to multiple markets, both domestic and international, will attract business to this growing city. And this is a report. from Rain Report. York Spadina Subway under construction, the new downtown, the Vaughan Metropolitan Center. It will establish Vaughan as one of the most accessible city. And we just heard the other day that KPMG is breaking ground, an office tower built in the Metropolitan Center. And then also, we have the Vaughan Enterprise Zone, a huge area for prestige employment and development and jobs. There's a great future for the city of Vaughan. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this city is the envy of a lot of people in the greater Toronto area. And we are lucky to be here and live in this beautiful city. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidates, do you agree, disagree with what you heard up here? Would you like to offer rebuttal?
I'd like to respond.
Richard?
I think Mr. DiBiase missed the point of the question, and it's, how do you bring high-tech jobs? How do you bring, innovative jobs to Vaughan? What he just read you was a report about the existing state of Vaughan, and that was not the question. The question is, what do we do? I have concrete plans to move in that direction. One of the things you'll like about me is I'm not afraid to try things, and I want you to understand that Vaughan is well positioned for high-tech jobs. We have a company called PowerStream that we own 46% of. PowerStream is ripe for diversification. PowerStream is ripe to get into high-tech. How? Other cities have done it. Other cities have taken their hydro companies and diversified them into internet service providers, into telephone companies, as well as cable TV. Wouldn't you love to have fiber optic cable in your house, directly into your house, getting high-speed internet, and at the same time keeping your money right here to service other infrastructure projects? That's what I'd like to bring forward in Vaughan.
Thank you, Richard. Deb?
I just want to make it clear that we're not sitting on our hands hoping somebody suddenly shows up. We actually have our economic development that I mentioned before actively pursuing companies to come to Vaughan. We held a conference recently where we invited all of the organizations that search for land for the high-tech companies all over North America, and they came up and spent a day with us learning about what Vaughan had to offer and learning about our city. And they were very, very excited about the opportunities that we have for their companies and the land that we have available. So we aren't just hoping it happens, we're out there making it happen. I just wanted to mention also, PowerStream is diversifying. I sit on the board, as does Michael and Gino. We are into solar, we are into distributed billing, where you have individual metering in condos. We are turning the business not into just distributing energy, but creating energy. So these are things that we're doing. We're not just sitting around hoping it falls in our lap. We're actively pursuing it because it is the future of our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
I'd just like to add, Kim, and ladies and gentlemen, that it was I at the time, as mayor of the city of Vaughan, with Markham, that we joined forces and we created PowerStream and we purchased Richmond Hill Power. Since then, we moved ahead and we made other purchases. And this year, we're over $1 billion in business. And there's a large return for the city of Vaughan because of the investment. And as my colleague said, ladies and gentlemen, we're into solar energy. We invested over $150 million, and we're getting a return on that. We're looking at smart meters. We're looking at all kinds of opportunities where we can spread our resources, invest, and make more money for the taxpayers, because PowerStream, it's yours and mine. It's all of us together that we invest. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie?
Well, the reason why PowerStream is profitable is because our utility prices are sky high, Michael. We're paying for that profit. If our utility prices were reduced, the profit would be reduced, and everybody in this room would be richer. So don't say that we're making profits, because those profits are not coming back to the taxpayers of Vaughan. We need to reduce our utility prices. If we reduce the utility prices, then we will attract more business to Vaughan. And that's plain and simple.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could, just to say, Kim, that utility prices, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm sorry, Michael.
are set by the
candidate only
province.
has 1 minute.
They're not set by us. The province approves
I'm
what
sorry,
we charge.
Michael, your time is up. We can still hear from Mario and Gino. Gino?
Thank you. Once again, it's sometimes lack of information that leads to questions or statements, and I just wish that the information was available. I'm proud of PowerStream, a company that I was involved in its creation. And at that time, our investment was $100 million. Its value now, our share alone, is over $400 million. That belongs to the Vaughan taxpayer because we care about the investment, because we care about the future. And to clarify, once again, what PowerStream does is the distribution. It represents only 20% of your hydro bill. If the price is high, there is a high cost of generation, there is a high cost of transmission, and there is a stranded debt if you look at that bill. So if you want to assign faults, and then look at the bill in its entirety, and then you would understand why it is the way it is and what we can do to fix it together. Thank you.
Thank you. Mario?
Thank you. Certainly, there's no question that the Economic Development Department of the City of Vaughan has done a great job over the years. Nobody's questioning that. However, the status quo it has to continue to grow and has to continue to improve. So status quo is good, but not good enough. We need to do more to ensure that the jobs that are available to the people that live here is sufficient. There's greater diversity of people that are moving in, more educated, and certainly looking forward to more opportunities for employment. And so we need to continue to search out ways of improving our sector, and in particular the high-tech sector, because that will provide the needed jobs.
Thank you. We'll move on to the second half of tonight's debate, and that's so we can get to as many audience questions as possible. If it's okay with all the candidates, we can limit your answers to 1 minute so we can get through as many audience questions as we can in the time left. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, great. Okay, the first question is for Mario. You were not re-elected during the last election. Voters opted to usher in a new councillor. Why should voters give you another chance?
Well, thank you for that question. You know, I would recommend taking time off because in the course of the last 4 years, for me, it has been a great opportunity to regenerate, reinvigorate, reestablish, reinvent, and assess how to do my job better. And I'm back now, and I would like to continue. I have the energy, I have the experience, I have the plan, I have the opportunities, and I'm raring to go.
Thank you. This is a question for all the candidates, and we'll start with Deb. When will we see more dog parks in Vaughan? At least one in every ward.
What a great question. My colleagues and anyone that's paying attention to council will know that I have been pushing this initiative for the 4 years that I've been in, and it was promised that we would have one in every ward. 6 years later, we still only have one in the city. The problem and the challenge is that there's a lot of other needs that are pulling at the limited resources we have, and typically soccer fields have won out. But I'm personally on we did find some money. I actually got council to agree to consider it in the upcoming budget, and then at the last meeting, they all decided to put the money that was going to go towards a dog park towards some art display cabinets at Maple Community Center. So needless to say, I'm disappointed. There's a lot of other issues that are pulling the money in different directions, but I'm definitely on the rampage for a dog park, and I will be pushing for it again, getting back on council. Thank you.
Thank you. Gino?
Yes. Thank you. We do have one dog park. I think that's known. Yes, there are, as my colleague explained, there are competing interests when we're dealing with the budget. We cannot do everything. You know, we have to keep your tax low, and that's part of the process. However, the next dog park will be considered in the 2015 budget. I don't think anyone in council does not support it. I think we all do, but we have to balance that requirement together with all the other requirements. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But definitely, I don't know when, but one may be next year, and eventually there'll be more, and eventually there'll be 5, 1 in each ward. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard?
Yeah, I think on this particular issue, there's been sufficient requests from the public. Dog owners do want a place to bring their dogs. One in every ward is sufficient. But I'd also like to say is that this is when you have to start getting creative, right? Resources, as Ms. Scholl pointed out, are limited. But this is when you can actually get creative and start approaching some landowners who have vacant land and just say, look, what can we do? What can we do to use some land, open land, fenced off? We'll look after the upkeep. And, you know, for the landowner, there could be something in it for them in terms of a minor tax break. But this is when you have to start getting creative, and this is when you have to start putting ideas forward. And one of the ideas I would put forward is that we approach some landowners and just say, look, let's see if we can work together on creating a dog park, and more than 5.
Thank you. Carrie?
Thanks, Kim. Okay, dog parks. What about people parks? We don't have enough people parks. We need more parks that are joined together by bicycles that people can walk in. And, you know, this has been a question since I moved here 20 years ago. Why do we have to pay to get into Courtright and Boyd? We own that land. It's owned by the TRCA, by us, by the province. Those parks should be freely available to everyone. And as for a dog park, after we resolve the issue of people parks, then we can focus on the dogs. But, you know, myself, I put people first.
Thank you. Mario?
Thank you. I have to agree with my colleague at the end. I'm disappointed too. And I'm glad that you took whatever steps you took to make it happen. Unfortunately, it hasn't. So we have to regenerate that initiative. My little pup never made it to the dog park. You got me mixed up with the people park. Although there could be people and dogs, you know, so there's room for both. So my commitment stands. I was committed to the 1 in every ward, and when I'm back on council, I certainly will continue to support that because I think there is a desperate need. Again, as I knock on doors, people are, believe it or not, are asking, saying, doggone it, when are you going to do it? Enough, pause.
Thank you, Mario. Michael?
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, my colleague at the end, Deb, did introduce a motion for an additional dog park. One is on the budget for discussion for next year to be approved. But ladies and gentlemen, our staff, our recreational staff brought forward a list of jobs to be done. In parks, we have tremendous infrastructure, a lot of infrastructure to repair, whether it's benches or it's swings or it's something else. And that's important because that's where our children play. And we want to make sure that our parks are safe for everyone to enjoy and play. And then there's other expenses. The winter storm took a lot of money just to clean up all the messes. Well, something has to have priority. And what is the priority? I think the priority is what's more important for our lifestyle. We want to make sure that whatever we do, we enjoy our children, our seniors, everyone have the opportunity to have safe parks and opportunities for everything else that comes with it.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question, and I'll start here with Richard. Every election, candidates promise to provide tax relief to seniors and the disabled, but after the election, taxes go up. If you promise to lower taxes for seniors, but fail to do so, will you step down?
Yes. Good question.
Actually, part of my platform is actually to look after vulnerable residents like seniors and disabled, and part of my platform is to expand the rebate program for seniors and disabled, so that more seniors can take advantage of the rebate program. Currently, the rebate program requires that you be on guaranteed income supplement, which basically means that you're below the poverty line. And if you're below the poverty line, chances are you don't even own a house to qualify for the rebate to start with. So, I think there's room for improvement there, and I certainly would like to look after, our seniors and disabled in a much more comprehensive way than has been done. And I am going to fight for that. Definitely going to fight for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Gino?
Yes, we all want to help seniors. We have done so in the past. I think our seniors are well looked after, if I may say. But years ago, we did the work together, and we convinced the provincial government to provide a rebate for seniors based on income. And if your income goes higher, then you lose the rebate. We also have a rebate, as Mr. Lorello has mentioned. But bear one thing in mind: if we expanded that program, which I'm more than happy to look at, you also have to understand that somebody else, another taxpayer, has to cover that cost. The issue here is the way taxation is charged. And on a property, it's not based on the person, it's based on the property itself. That's provincial legislation, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody has to pay the same. That should change, and I hope it will in the future. But right now, that's a real dilemma that we all have to work together in order to resolve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Deb?
Yeah, there's no question that many of our seniors are struggling. And while we do have a tax assistance program, as been mentioned, it is tied to guaranteed income supplement. And it's $321, which is not a lot, but I would definitely be interested in trying to see what else we can do. We have a tax deferral program as well. But I think there's more we can do. The only issue is, whatever the seniors aren't going to pay, everyone else is going to have to pay. So it's not like the money's going to come out of nowhere. It's going to come out of the pockets of everyone else. And the seniors aren't the only ones that are struggling to make ends meet. So it is a difficult situation. I do believe it's the appropriate thing is to relook at these programs. They've been in place for a while. We also give free facilities. We give community enhancement grants. There's a lot of money that goes to seniors through the programs that are given to seniors. There's a lot of free activities that they get where everyone else has to pay when they go to the community centers. So we need to look at this carefully, but I'm prepared to look and see what else we can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Carrie?
First of all, I think we need to reduce taxes for everyone, but I do agree that there's an inherent problem in the way that services are delivered to seniors and disabled in particular. We need more services into the home, and we need to use our tax dollars better. This is a job of the region, and there's literally hundreds of millions of dollars spent every year on social programs, and in my opinion, that money is not being spent properly. We need to prioritize and make sure that those dollars are going to better services, to provide services in the home, and if seniors and disabled people, if they need free transportation, for example, they should be getting it. So it's a bigger problem than just simply reducing taxes. And to answer your question, I think everybody should resign if they don't do what they promise to do.
Thank you. Mario?
Oh, thank you. I think I may have an exemption on this one. From the point of view that I actually did something with respect to property taxes. Together with Isabella from Savvy and 670 seniors, we had a meeting with the three provincial parties where we talked about how how can they help to defray the costs associated with the property taxes? And as a result of that meeting, we were able to get the property tax rebate for all seniors, not just in Vaughan, but throughout Ontario. And that's what happens when you work together with the community. You make things happen. And with respect, to the city, I'm looking at pegging the rebate to tax increase. So if the tax goes up, so does the rebate.
Thank you. Michael?
Yes. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I was reading an interesting statistic. By 2016, residents 85 years of age and older will have increased by 67% over 2006 numbers. Seniors are growing in large amount. What can we do to help them? Well, of course, you know, there's tax assistance to seniors or disabled, deferral programs, which has been mentioned for seniors, deferred taxes, and possibly if we can make them interest-free, that could help. Continue to provide senior programs, and we're doing that right now, and we're offering recreational assistance to seniors. Continue to support senior clubs, and as they grow in number, and today we were at a senior club, they said they need to expand, and we have to provide assistance for them to expand. So there's a lot that the municipality can do, the City of Vaughan can do, and the region for our seniors, and I am committed to make sure that all that is taking place. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next question, and we'll start with Gino. I have always had a bad taste for politics because of the constant negative bantering. Can you convince me to vote for you based on your merits and vision for the City of Vaughan?
Well, thank you for that question. I could go on for an hour, but I only have less than a minute. But let me say very quickly that yes, I have the experience, the knowledge, the dedication to do a good job. I think I have proven that to the public, whether I was a school trustee, a local council, or a regional, and because I'm dedicated. Also because I have a great deal of background and knowledge, particularly through the bank, that affords me the ability to look at things in a broader perspective, understanding the ramification of each decision, take the public opinion into account. And I can give you an example, the casino. When I realized that people were against it, I said I have to support my community, and I did. And I always will. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard? Richard?
Thank you. Politics is about people. That's where people's problems get solved, believe it or not. But every day that you pick up the paper, you tend to find very negative articles about politicians, political activity, scandal, corruption, mismanagement. And it's generally why there's a negative connotation to, you know, being a politician. And I'm not up here because, you know, I want to be popular. I'm up here because I want to bring politics back to what it should be. It should be about people. It should be about serving the public interest, not the special interest. It's about solving people's problems in a creative way. And sometimes I've had to bring forward material that, you know, has been not very nice, but I've done my own private audits in the city, and it has shown mismanagement. And I show you that because I believe you need to know it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mario?
Thank you. Let me say that of all the issues that I have run into at the door, this is one of the biggest, and it's so sad to walk away from those who have lost complete faith in politicians and in political life and in public systems. And I think we have a responsibility to restore that. And for me, I do have an accountability plan, and among the items that I would be addressing is, for example, people call, they have questions. You know, it's important that we respond to phone calls, to emails within a time frame. People call and often are forgotten. That there is communication with the constituents, that we provide them with update and progress and engage them and involve them. If we don't do that, we're going to continue with this sense of cynicism and resignation.
Thank you, Mario. Carrie?
Well, I would actually rephrase that question, because I don't think that people are disillusioned so much because of the negativity. I think they're disillusioned because politicians don't do what they say they're going to do. Once they get elected, they have memory lapses, and all of a sudden they go in an opposite direction to what they promised to do. I think that's the big problem. We need to have recall with politicians, so that if people are very dissatisfied, say a quarter or halfway through the term, that they can be removed from office. And that's what I support at all levels of government, is recall. And I also support transparency. I think this city has been shut down as far as public participation. We have more closed meetings now than ever before. And it's very disturbing that people don't know and don't understand what's going on with their government. It's not democracy. That's very undemocratic. So I would like to reverse that.
Thank you. Deb?
I think there has been a huge erosion in trust of politicians, and I think that's come through, you read the media and you see what people have been doing. And even though it is the minority, we all get tarred with the same brush. People need to trust us. They need to trust their politicians. And the only way they're going to do that is that our actions are in line with our words. And unfortunately, that isn't always the case. For me, I never promise anything I can't deliver. I spend the time to explain to people why things may not be as they would like. And I think people appreciate that. And I've been able to garner a lot of support and a lot of commitment from the community, because I do spend the time. I do tell the truth, even when the answer is not what people may want to hear. So if our politicians spoke more truth, stopped promising to get votes, and actually delivered, I think there would be a lot more trust back in the profession of politicians. So, thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I think what is very important is that you are committed. If you're committed to the community, to the residents of Vaughan, if you're committed to what you're saying, the residents will realize and understand. And all I can tell you, in all my years, well over 25 years, whether it's been the Woodbridge Soccer Club, where I coached my son, and I've coached my grandson, whether it's in the Vaughan Food Bank, where you do collect food for the needy, whether you're involved in other activities, you're committed and people see you. For the larger part, seniors, you're committed to make sure that they're fine, and you go and visit them, and you talk to them, and you spend time with them. And there's a lot of commitment that needs to be done, not only on council, but all over. And I think you get enjoyment out of it, and at the same time, people understand, appreciate, and know what you're doing. And that's how it works. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next question, and we'll start with Carrie. All our community centers are ill-equipped for challenged persons such as myself, yet our fees are the same as able-bodied. If elected, will this issue be corrected?
Well, I think this issue is extremely important. First of all, because it's the law that all of our community centers are fully accessible. And I think it's a real shame that Vaughan has completely ignored disabled people and seniors. What I will do, like immediately after getting elected, is personally tour every community center with anyone who wants to come with me, and make note of all the areas that need to be fixed, and make it a priority to make it accessible. It's not only morally responsibility of the region and the city, but it's also the law. And I think that we need to get with the times. That's my answer.
Thank you. Richard?
Again, part of my platform is to try to do something more for our vulnerable residents, such as disabled and seniors. There is certainly much more we can do. This is a good example of not only making the facilities more accessible to disabled, but also doing something about the rate. And disabled are most likely on a fixed income, and they definitely need a break in that regard as well. There's so much that can be done for the disabled that I think it just requires a lot of creative thinking. A lot of ideas can be brought to the table. And not just from us. What I would do is invite disabled people to be part of a panel that we can just listen to them and understand some of the things that they are challenged with so that we can make better decisions in the long term. Thank you.
Thank you. Mario?
Thank you very much. I very sympathetic because I believe in equal opportunity and accessibility. And I know that there are reports that have been done, studies that have been done, committees that have been established, and that's great, but we need now to turn those into action. And certainly that would be one of my priorities when elected.
Thank you. Gino?
Yes. This is a joint responsibility between the city and the region, and indeed the private sector as well. As was mentioned, it is the law. I believe we are complying to the law, and particularly in providing mobility plus. However, that's a general law. It's very general in nature. I'm sure there are many cases that are very specific, they're very unique, and I encourage those individuals to talk to us that we can accommodate it. And we will bend backwards to accommodate disabled people whichever way we can. I believe that by and large we have done it, but if we failed somewhere, the person asked the question, please call me or call any one of us. And we will be happy to look at the situation and intervene on your behalf to making sure that you are looked after. That's my commitment to you.
Thank you. Michael?
Thank you. Well, I think from a regional perspective, we do provide a lot of service. Mobility bus has been mentioned as one example. Maybe more money needs to be injected into the budget because we have to be more freely. We have to reach downtown Toronto where some of the challenged seniors need to go to a hospital. And we have to be able to do that and make sure that we make their commitments, their time commitments. But even at the City of Vaughan itself, we have community centers. We provide opportunities for them to come together, to participate in activities, and that's all over the City of Vaughan. We offer them rooms where they can stay all year round and enjoy themselves and provide them with their needs. So I think there are opportunities. Can we improve on them? Definitely. Can we do more? Definitely. And I'm committed to that.
Thank you. Deb?
This is a huge problem in our city. And if you spend any time with Charlie at the back there, and I don't know where Peter is, Peter over here, you will see the problems that these people have getting around our city and accessing services. So it is a massive issue. There is a lot of money that needs to be spent to bring a city that was focused when it was being developed on the car and turning it into a fully accessible community. You go down our sidewalks and all of a sudden they can't go over the road because there's no dip there. And the sidewalk ends, and then what do? They're stuck. So if you walk around our city with people that are challenged, you see the amount of work that needs to be done. We have an accessibility committee at the region. We have one at the city that is working hard to try and make the changes that are necessary. It will take time. We do have time by legislation to do it. Every single opportunity I have where we're changing a road, or even in the public sector where you have a community plaza. Sorry, I gotta stop, but we're working really hard.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next question. We'll start with Michael. What will you do about the YRT transit for York University students? It is not adequate at all and way too expensive. Why is there not a student rate for university students?
Well, we do have a budget. Each year is approved. Transit is a regional responsibility, and we know that York Region provides a service throughout the region. It's not strictly Vaughan. Can we improve our transit? I think we're in the process of doing that. We certainly placed more buses on the street. We certainly have increased the frequency. If there is a need, I'm sure that we can look at it again and increase that frequency, that number of buses that are traveling the route, and improve the opportunity for them to get to university that much quicker.
Thank you. Mario?
Thank you. I can tell you when I was on the regional council and we dealt with the issue of fares, and you really want to be fair when it comes to this. The issue of seniors and the issues of students was one of the ones that I defended, because I wanted to make sure that they had some means of moving from point A to point B. Those are the most vulnerable, those are the most economically deprived, and so we were able to freeze the fares for students for the period of time that I was there. Not sure what's happened since, but definitely we have to review that, and we have to accommodate the needs of the youth and the seniors.
Thank you. Carrie?
Thanks, Kim. So let me start with subways, because our transportation just doesn't work in Vaughan. I'm going to give you an example. My daughter came home at 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday, arrived at Downsview Station, and there was not one bus coming anywhere within Woodbridge. So she had to take a $50 cab ride just to get home. 9 o'clock at night. This is unacceptable. What we need to do is use part of the $6.6 billion infrastructure budget for the region and build 2 subways, one in the west, one in the east, and have decent buses going back and forth between the subways. And we need to make it cost effective for everybody, including students. So that's what I would push to do with our $6.6 billion infrastructure fund.
Thank you. Richard?
Thank you. Actually, youth issues is something that I love to talk about, and I would pay to have a room full of youth that I could speak to, because the way we treat our youth is sometimes so disingenuous to them. We send them to school, they incur high student debt, and then we charge them a lot of money just to take public transit. This is an issue that has to be dealt with. The last YRT strike, in my opinion, was handled very poorly. Not only did it result in higher fares, it also resulted in less service in certain areas. The other thing that I want you to understand as well is that one of the things that's preventing us from putting more buses on the roads and actually dealing with transit in general is our high York Region debt. Since the last election in 2010, the York Region's debt has more than doubled. We are now the highest per capita indebted municipality in the GTA, and it's inhibiting us from doing things that we need to do, such as more buses on the road. And that's what I intend to work on.
Thank you. Gino?
Yes, definitely. I think we needed to assist and provide the service to the youth, but some facts. Okay, students do have a lower rate, seniors do have a lower rates. We tried at Regional Council to have free rides for seniors during the day, as was mentioned earlier. Regional Council did not support that, and there is only 1 or 2 or 3 of us that felt that way. Bear in mind, however, that York Region Transit is paid by York Region taxpayer, the operating cost. What you pay when you board a bus, you're paying 40% of the cost. The other 60% is paid by the York Region taxpayer. Okay, so it's a great subsidy. Also bear in mind that the $6 billion or whatever billions of dollars in infrastructure is required to build fast transit lane, to widen the road, to buy buses. You can't improve transit by simply lowering the rate. You need the service, a service that people can access easily and quickly.
Thank you very much. Deb?
I always seem to be the end, don't I? Just to pick up on that, there is over $150 million that was spent last year by the taxpayer to subsidize the transit. Despite that, I made a motion every single time we have tried to raise the fare to give students a break and not raise the fare, and definitely seniors and children. I was not successful last time, but I was successful this year. So in the seniors, it did not go up. I was not successful for students. I was successful for the seniors. I got the support of my colleagues here at the table to make that happen. So we are pushing to try to give those subsidies where we do feel that it's important in the community. The problem is, it does add to the burden of everyone else, and that's not being well supported by the rest of our colleagues on council. So just don't forget, there's already a strong subsidy that's happening with the transit system because it's so spread out and it's not efficient yet. Thank you.
You very much. We will begin to wrap up this evening with closing statements from the candidates. They'll each have 2 minutes to persuade you to vote for them on October the 27th. And you don't actually have to wait until October the 27th, because if you've already got your mind made up, you can take part in advance voting at many locations throughout Vaughan. So just check the city's website, vaughan.ca, for locations, and you don't have to wait, until the 27th in the big crush. The candidates have chosen numbers to determine the order of their closing statements earlier, and number 1
Is me.
is Richard. Richard has 2 minutes.
Well, thank you again to the Vaughan Citizen and Human Endeavor for putting this on. I want to stress that I'm running because, very much like you, I care about my family, and I care about the future of the city. You don't spend years doing this and, going into council and speaking to issues if you didn't care. Yes, I do want to become a regional councillor, but I want to become a regional councillor because I think I can do a better job. You've heard here tonight how our incumbents have spoken about wanting to do things like dog parks, wanting to do things like healthcare, wanting to put more transit on the road. Well, the question I have for you is, why haven't they done it? It's high time that we have new people and new blood on council, people who are creative, people who have management backgrounds that can actually put forward ideas, come up with pilot projects and trials. My vision for the city is one that embraces diversity. It's one that builds for the future for our youth. It's one that looks after seniors and disabled. And it's one that looks to secure hospital services the Vaughan residents deserve. We can't afford to go back to the past. The amount of mismanagement, the amount of scandals that we've had, we can't go back to that. We need to go to the future. We need to stop the waste, and that's where the money will come from for dog parks. That's where the money will come from for rebates for seniors. A chunk of our taxes that we pay is simply mismanaged dollars, and you don't have to look too far. Just look at the City Hall. We lost $16 million building that City Hall, and then we also paid another $17 million. Don't tell me that the money is well managed, because it's not, and that's one of my strengths. I will bring sound management to Vaughan Council, and that's what I intend to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard Lorello. And next up, number 2, Mario Ferry.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to go at length because you have been very kind to sit here and listen to what's going on. And for that, I'm going to keep my closing remarks extremely brief. So now on October 27, you have a decision to make. You have to determine who is going to be the board of directors, who is going to be in charge of running the business of the city of Vaughan and looking after the interests of its citizens and its business. You need to assess who can best address the traffic issue, the keeping taxes low, and assuring that hospital is built. You have had an opportunity to view some of the offerings here this evening. Be guided by your good judgment, be guided by your sense of the future, and then make your decision. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have a plan, I do have the energy, I do have the competency to proceed and help to manage the city in a manner that you would be proud. Ladies and gentlemen, on October 27, choose well. The future of the city is in your hands.
Thank you. Next up is Deb Schultz.
Thank you very much. I was elected in 2010 to help bring change to City Hall, and we've made great strides, and people do see a significant improvement in the way that we work together. The city has a much improved image. I've brought my extensive business and management experience and my engineering technical skills to the task of solving the many challenges that face our city. We have quietly been transforming the culture of City Hall to make it more service-oriented, transparent, and accountable to you. We now have all of our committee and council meetings video recorded and available online for you to review. We have a better reputation and working relationships with the region and the province that ensures our issues get the attention they deserve. We have made progress, but there's still much work to be done. The top 3 issues on many residents' minds are traffic congestion, taxes, and the hospital. Over the next 4 years, I'll be focusing on improving transportation in our city, not only working to reduce traffic congestion with road widenings, intersection improvements, light timing, but improving public transit, cycling, and pedestrian facilities. I've already been working on these initiatives. However, the cycle for implementation means that many of them will be delivered in the next term. I have been working hard to get Vaughan moving again. I will also be continuing to deliver high-quality services while working to keep the taxes down. We have kept our tax increase over the past 4 years to a minimum at the rate of inflation, while ensuring that we have a financially sustainable city for the future. It is essential we manage growth and development to respect existing neighborhoods and change our processes so that much-needed transportation comes concurrent with the development. I'm also an advocate for the environment, and we need to ensure balance as we grow and intensify, protecting and enhancing our precious green spaces and providing trails and recreation opportunities for all ages. We've started work on the hospital, as you've heard, and we're preparing the servicing for Mackenzie Health to break ground next year as promised. I'm looking forward to your support on October 27th so I continue the positive momentum
Deb.
and deliver results for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael DiBiase.
Thank you very much, Kim, Vaughan Citizen, Nordine. Ladies and gentlemen, our city has expanded greatly over the 25 years I've had the privilege and honor of serving you. Throughout all our efforts, Vaughan is now an exciting and diverse urban center with great advantages. I care about our progress. I want to ensure that our youth will grow up in a safe, livable, and sustainable city. I am guided by the issues that are important and affect you and your family for the prosperity of our city. Now we have to make sure that we reduce gridlock and ensure that our streets are safe for our pedestrians. We must be effective in providing for the transportation, medical, recreational, and housing needs for all, in particular for our seniors, our children, and our youth. We must protect and enhance our natural heritage and our environment. My vision is to see the Vaughan prosper, continue to receive high level of service while maintaining low taxes, continue the work I initiated to build a hospital, reduce gridlock, and get the mass transit that is our city's due. To do this, I will deliver strong, proven leadership through my experience and vision. I have a proven track record of getting things done for you in the spirit of teamwork and dedication. I will address the issues, as I always have, in a respectful and dignified manner. Our city belongs to us. Together, we must ensure that it is the best place in the world to live, work, and raise a family for our children and future generations. On October 27th, I ask for your support in re-electing me, Michael DiBiase, as your regional and local councillor for the city of Vaughan. Thank you.
Thank you. Gino Rosati is up next.
Thank you. And first of all, let me say thank you to to the Vaughan citizens and Human Endeavors for putting this event together. And we are at the conclusion. And let me say one thing. When I first started as a trustee, I told everybody who I was. I put a platform, things that I thought would be needed to be done. And that's what the public voted on. And I was elected the very first time. I continued in that manner all the way, and I will continue to do so in the future, to speak on my record at this time and the things I were able to do. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that I'm disappointed. I thought this kind of some practice were part of the past, but apparently it's been brought into the future. And I'm disappointed that one member has chosen to use underhanded tactics by crossing faces of other candidates to make a point. I think that's unfair, unjust, and doesn't really deal with the issue. Because let me say one thing to you, and the City Hall was mentioned. It's just one little piece. I think we have thousands of pages, and anyone that wants to judge what happened with City Hall had to be informed from A to Z what happened, how it happened, why it happened, and what was done. And I think that given the circumstances under which we were operating, it was handled properly, and everybody knows it. And changes were made. Okay? And everything was resolved. Okay? It's important that you inform yourself of all of the parts, as I said before. And I wish I didn't have to say that, but I think it's disappointed. But I will continue to serve you to the best of my ability with knowledge and confidence.
Thank you, Gino.
Thank you.
In light of the controversial nature of the flyer, and Richard is here, I think we should give Richard a chance to speak to that.
Yes, thank you.
Well, he can't speak.
I do want to respond to that because I'm sorry, but the flyer is truthful. The flyer is real. The City Hall was over budget by $16 million. We paid another $17 million in a legal settlement. It's your money too. It's your money as well. And it was wasted. The previous council was not held responsible for that decision. The mismanagement is there. And I will repeat again, the reason why we don't have the services you need is because of the waste. $33 million lost. Mr. Rosati, you were on council at the time. Mr. Ferry, you were on council at the time. Mr. DiBiase, to some extent, you were on council at the time. And that issue still bothers me. It bothers me very much.
And this
we
all
wasted
based on lack of
$33
information.
million.
You don't have the facts. If
The
you
facts
did,
are there.
if you
The
did,
facts
you
are
would
there.
say that.
Mr. Rosati, you were on council when we lost all that money.
No, I wasn't. I
we'll
wasn't
move
there.
on.
No, not
Yes,
at the
you
beginning.
were.
Not
We'll
at the
move
beginning.
on.
Yes, you were.
Thank
You haven't got the
gentlemen.
facts.
I'm sorry,
and
Mr.
you
Rosati.
are
Those are the facts.
you
Thank
are
you,
going
gentlemen.
you are going about
Lost.
it the wrong way.
No, I'm not.
That's
I am bringing
underhanded
forward factual
and
information.
mean and
Okay, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen. We have our final candidate to deliver her closing remarks.
You let him respond. He was on council when it happened. He was on council.
Do you? Yeah, let's wrap up the evening with Carrie's closing statement.
Now that I have everyone's attention. My name is Carrie Liddy, and I'm running for regional council. My family and I have called Vaughan home for the past 20 years. I want to give back to my community in a tangible way, and since moving to Vaughan, I have been an active member in our community. The issues that I hear all throughout Vaughan are the same: taxes, traffic, and hospital. Our city has become unaffordable. Like any household, Vaughan needs to live within its means. Let's stop the wasteful spending and put money into programs that increase the quality of our lives for residents, seniors, and disabled. Traffic is destroying our city and taking hours away from our families. We sit idling in jammed roads every single night. We have to fix gridlock. We need a plan, and we need to stick to the plan. We need commitment from all levels of government to step up to the plate and to relieve traffic congestion. And finally, the Vaughan Hospital. It's been 10 years. There's nothing but photo ops and patting everybody on the back. We need real commitment. We need a hospital, and we need it built now. I am committed to building the hospital in Vaughan, and I will be putting my money where my mouth is. If elected, I will be donating 10% of my salary to the Vaughan Hospital. If you want any information on the platform, please visit my website at carryliddyforvaughan.com. And I want to thank Human Endeavors and the Vaughan Citizen for this opportunity to speak. On October 27th, I would be honored if you would entrust me with one of your 3 votes. Thank you, and thank you for coming.
I let you, the audience, decide this. Mario Ferry wants to say a brief few words in rebuttal to... By show of applause, do you want to hear from him? Okay,
Well,
Mario, one minute.
No, I will respect the presence of the people that are here that have been good enough to stay all this length of time. I just wanted to make the point that it's this kind of attack ads that continues to deteriorate the reputation and the moral salary of the politicians. There is no room, there is no place for this in Vaughan. If you want to do this in America or elsewhere, fine, but this is not the place to be doing it. Let's talk about issues. Let's talk about our platform. Let's talk about the vision. Let's talk about all those things, and let's leave it at that. And let's go out there and do the best that we can. And so, So having said that, I just
Okay.
want to continue.
Your minute is up, Mario.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. I want to thank everybody for coming to spend the night with us, for this debate, and for all your great questions. I also want to give a round of applause to the candidates for being in the hot seat tonight. And thank you very much. We'll see you around the community soon. Thank you.